Back to school is busy enough. The last thing you need is shopping that makes it harder. Whether you're moving into a dorm, your first apartment, or just getting organized for the semester, Wayfair makes it easy to get everything you need in one place. Furniture, bedding, storage, decor, study essentials, all at prices you'll love, with fast shipping before move-in day. Get everything you need for back-to-school season. Shop Wayfair.com today.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You alright? Taxidermy Tales number 2. Taxidermy. I'm skinned to that. So, I'm going to tell you about some of the ball flickers and a little treat at the end as well. So, first up, you can see the ball flickers here in the background. I'm going to keep just adding to them as we do these. These will be once a month, once every other month. Basically, when I've not got time to do another show because I've been a bit busy. You might have noticed I've been setting up cute vintages. This here is Phyllis Cooper, the ball flicker. Now, I'm going to read you the story of Phyllis Cooper. I make up a story for each one. A 3D designer from Brighton. Now living in York, she feels out of place and unwanted. Her seaside attitudes have gotten her at ends with the locals. The sheep farmers are furious with her for her attempted protest of the local abattoir. She doesn't see it as a job that helps keep the community she adores alive. She only sees death. Fish are animals too, they say to her, but she disagrees. She believes them to be a different class of creature, beneath animals, but above plants. Sandra, one of the local farmers, because it's important to write women into these things, you know what I mean? Otherwise people whinge. Sandra, one of the local farmers, brought her old 21 questions device to the pub and told her to keep thinking of fish while she used it. And woe and behold, the device kept saying brown trout, rainbow salmon, goldfish. She isn't cut out for the Yorkshire life, but she's become too Yorkshire for the seaside life. She has her sights set on a barge where which she sees as a happy medium, poisoning the fish of the Manchester Ship Canal. Phyllis Cooper's one of me ball flickers made out of the lower halves of 2 chicken beaks, a bit of rat skin, and a pair of mouse ears. Moving on. Justin, the ball flicker. This might be better as a video episode on my YouTube, guys, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple or whatever. Can't put a video episode on here, I'm not sure how. Justin, because you can see a picture next to my head. Justin the ball flicker. A broken man. He sits alone in his bedroom full of sand. The obsession took hold when he watched his dog drown on Kalugi Beach a couple years back. His carpets are ruined. 2.5 years of bringing bags of sand back from the beach and riverside, he's now 4 inches closer to his ceilings. He's had 3 dogs since Dexy died on the Kalugian Peninsula. He just gives them away after they start shitting in the bedroom. His eyes glow a pale pink from the possible unconfirmed toxoplasmosis. He hears scurrying in the sand, unsure if it's crabs or those big tick-looking things, hallucinating nightly as the infection grows. He hates himself and his predicament, but can't stop sanding his carpets. The pile blocks the door, no privacy. When he brings his girlfriends over, they worry his flatmates are going to creep in through the night to catch a peek of them sleeping, so they don't come around very often. But he has a penchant for the older lady, so they're usually a bit more accepting of his quirks, as he's quite a good-looking, charismatic 25-year-old and 6'3", 6'7" in the bedroom. But a lot of them get annoyed by getting sand in the creases and holes, and one woman swears that she saw a fox in his hallway. But her eyes were glowing too at the time, so it's hard to know who to trust. His downstairs tenant is terrified because the ceiling's starting to bow towards his 65-inch TV, and Justin, the landlord, won't allow him to mount it on the wall, as it will ruin the wallpaper. And Justin's obviously one of me ball flickers made out of duckling skin and a baby chicken's beak. Caden. His mum kept leaving him outside Waitrose in the hope of a better life for herself. She planned on pretending that he'd ran off. She had dreams of her sobbing face plastered across newspaper covers, pictures of her missing son all over the news. She would fantasise about getting some form of super discount from Waitrose so that she could be seen strutting to the front door with an handful of those green bags. She's had it hard, but she deserves it. That's what they'd be saying behind her back. But fortunate for Caden, He's a 37-year-old man, twice divorced, and he had no idea that he was being abandoned outside the high-class supermarket. He was pretty confused about why his mum had wanted to meet up so far from his or her house, but she didn't turn up, and on the third time he just stopped going there, and the familial unit began to break down further. Caden's a ball flicker made of rat skin, beak, and duckling skin. Eddie the ball flicker now. Eddie's a regular down the timber yard, a real whiz with a chop saw, a bona fide genius at jointing. He builds birdhouses, bug hotels, bat boxes, hedgehog hides, but in 75% of them he has installed traps that would make even the Viet Cong wince. His most common build is a weight-sensitive platform that waits until the baby birds have been fed just enough food before releasing from its latch and dropping the birds onto the upright nails he's placed beneath. Glue trap perches, paper supports that'll load the platform until moisture weakens the integrity of the sheets, and then the base just simply falls off, sending the creature plummeting to the earth below. He recently developed a geared system that gets cranked on nodules each time pressure gets applied to the plate within the box. Once it reaches the final nodule, the spring that has been tightly coiled is allowed to release, forcing the floor of the box and the inhabitants towards the ceiling at an alarming rate of knots. His unique mix of engineering know-how and sadistic desire means he's able to scale up and down his diabolical killing machines. He won't stop. He doesn't want to. He thinks he's helping control local populations by teaching the wildlife to build their own homes and not to become so reliant on human help. He can't understand why the animals keep using his creations, and it's starting to wear him down on a psychological level, but he can't stop. All the deaths have to mean something. He repeats it to himself in his shed as he's scrawling it on his living room wall. He's even got it tattooed on his inner thigh. And Eddie's a ball flicker made out of rat skin and duckling skin. Moving on, we got Mrs. Wiggins. Local ball popper Mrs. Wiggins. Not a big fan of kids messing around. She's feared by the local children. Marching around parks, you'll hear the whispers and the screams of, "It's Mrs. Wiggins! It's Mrs. Wiggins! It's Mrs. Wiggins!" And, "Grab the ball! Grab the ball! Grab the ball!" She terrorises the playing fields and nursing home car parks with a massive safety pin that she uses to deflate footballs. She learned years ago that she can't pop them, as that damages another person's goods. Litigious Mrs. Wiggins, very litigious. The local police force are sick of her antics and have started pleading with the council for a pay-as-you-go football pitch to get installed, so that if she is caught on there, they can at least arrest her for trespass. But the council keeps saying no. It is rumoured, though, by some, that she's been paid for by the establishment, so that there's going to be less people in the parks as the years go by, and that's going to make it much easier for them to rationalise their plans to build houses on the green space. But everyone just knows her as the crazy, untouchable Mrs. Wiggins. And Mrs. Wiggins was a ball flicker made out of rabbit skin and a bit of rat skin. Then we got Brett. So then they're quite recent ones, what you've heard there. This is an older one. His brother used to make fun of him for not being able to fight. The rumours spread around his small town, and Brett had just grown weary of it as time went by. Then one day, he snapped, taking a shopping basket and caving in the head of an elderly woman he believed to be related to his bully from work. Unfortunately, the lady had nothing to do with Brett's workplace bully, and turned out to be his nan's secret lesbian lover. The only person she had ever confided in about her secret sexuality was Brett's brother. Brett is made from a rabbit's tail and rat skin with a bit of fake tooth. You'll notice here in the video I've said duckling skin because I didn't check my notes beforehand. What a bellend. One job innit, one simple job. I'm even doing this style podcast just because it's a bit easier this week on me, because I need to do a long form one, but I'll probably just do a Here's How next week. Mr. Skimbles, one of my favourite names I've used. Mr. Skimbles has been, for the Spotify listener, Mr. Skimbles is a bit of a duck-looking guy. He's got a duckling arse for an head, rat skin for a head, duckling arse for a hairdo, should I say, tiny googly eyes, and I made him a fake bill out of rat tail that I've sliced in half and folded in upon itself. Mr. Skimbles has been struck off from teaching for giving his students unsolicited lifts home from school. The students would be led to believe they were going on a class trip in the school minibus, but Mr. Skimbles would just take each student home in alphabetical order, not even in an order that made sense logistically. The students didn't mind until a jealous student from the other side of town pointed it out. The headmaster didn't believe it, but after checking the mileage, he and the head of the maths department were able to work out exactly which children he had driven home against their will. And Mr. Skimbles was a ball flicker that I'd made out of duckling, rat skin, and rat tail. Next one's called Kate. Interestingly, Kate ended up being for someone that I knew in the end. Kate, after months of deliberation, Kate decided it was finally time to start disposing of the AAA batteries that she'd been, quote, recovering from the large containers next to the exit of her local supermarket. She'd never had a use for them, but the thrill of everyone staring at her while she rummaged through the basket of possibly leaky batteries had just been too enticing. Are they watching? She would ask herself in her head, whilst also mouthing the words. She'd also giggle to herself all the way to the car, but the excitement was short-lived, and all that remained was the responsibility of then correctly disposing of the batteries. She couldn't face simply taking them back to the shop. She had bin bags full. What would they think? Crippling vibrator collection, a stash of Universal TV remotes that she harasses her neighbours with. Kate decided to bag them up into sandwich bags and then place them one at a time into empty milk bottles before concealing them underneath other people's recycling. Kate is one of my ball flickers made from rat tail duckling and a baby chicken's beak, and I think I gave her away to the guy that wanted her because his missus is called Kate. I was like, yeah, you can have this one. Moving on. Next up is a portrait. So portraits are a bit different. I popped the portrait at the end of the last one. I was going to put an amalgamation, but I thought we'd stick with a portrait for this one. If you've enjoyed this episode, leave a comment underneath. If you've not enjoyed this episode, leave a comment underneath. If you've liked this episode, leave a like. If you've not liked this episode, still leave one because it helps me out and we can trick other people into listening to what you think is shit. Don't know why I seem to want to trick people all the time at the minute. Stacey the portrait. Stacey, for the idea, the people that don't know what a portrait is a square magnet I used to make on a little canvas with all different bits of skin and basically just different bits of skin. And then I would make up a story as if a person of that name came to the studio to have a portrait made out of skins of animals. So that helps this set the scene for this, I suppose, helps make this make sense. Stacey was the last customer of the day when I set up my portrait stand in the city centre. She was wearing a red flowy dress that looked like she'd split something down. She looked like she'd spilt something down, I apologise. 25 minutes into the session, she asks if we can take a break. She'd been sat in silence for the whole time, which is very unusual for a portrait session. She then took out a multi-pack of pork pies and ate them all in 2 bites each. Most shocking is that she was a petite woman, but she just ate those jellied pork pies with the voracity of a hoover sucking up a curtain. Barely 3 minutes passed, and a very uncomfortable-looking Stacey got back into position and remained silent until I was finished. She looked at the finished portrait and said, "You can keep that one for yourself," with a flick of the wrist and a flirty smile. Then she stood up quickly and spun around, making her dress lift slightly before what looked like a tiny little heave of her shoulders and what I presume was a hand to her mouth, before slowly stumbling off into the crowd that was gathering outside the pound shop. Stacey never paid for her portrait, so I'm offering it to you. And it looks like Stacey was made out of duckling skin, a duckling wing, bits of rat skin, I would say. And that's it, guys. That's the end of Taxidermy Tales 2. Taxidermy, I'm skinned to that, which is referencing a video that I quite enjoyed that I saw on Reels the other day. But if this is your first listen to me podcast, fucking try the rest. There's one that's not on Spotify now about Aladdin. You'll have to find that on... There's one that's not on YouTube, sorry. Aladdin's not on YouTube. It won't let me upload it. Not sure why. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not sure if it's because it's 2.5 hours long, so I might have to upload it to it in separate parts. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll just let the video version be, the Patreon video version be available publicly. Might do that. Join the Patreon. £1 a month gets you live access to these videos and the vlogs that I do on there sometimes. The £3 a month tier gets you all downloads of all of my books. It gets you fucking... What else? hundreds of exclusive shows, not like this one, just ones where I'm just rambling and chatting shit and just, making stuff up off the top of my head most of the time. Ones where I read angry comments from vegans, ones where I've read comments from very aroused people. For quite a while, there was some people that were just very aroused by watching me talk about dead rats. The rats of it were secondary. They were just staring at me groin and leaving fucking pretty pervy comments, which they still do sometimes on Facebook, but that's died off quite a lot now, which is actually why I've got the OF, if you've ever looked at my links and wondered why that exists. But the Patreon, and I also read books on Patreon, which I'm trying to keep up with, but struggling, but I've got a lot on. And also, if you would like to help us out, me and my missus, follow Cute Vintages on Instagram and TikTok, because we've set up an eBay shop where we're listing shite, but I'm using the Instagram and the TikTok to make stupid adverts for them, and I'm posting a couple of them each day. So if you want to go and find them, that'd be nice if you could find them. Leave a bid on the eBay as well, maybe bid on something just so someone else can't win it. That's nice, and then you get it and it's only cost you like £1.20, but you've potentially stopped someone else from getting a 99p bargain. Either way, thank you for watching, or thank you for listening if you're listening on Spotify, and I'll fucking see you in a bit, guys. Nice one.